And we're live. This is so exciting. Happy Oscars nomination day. It's very exciting. And we are here to talk about the Academy Award nominations. We thought this would be fun. Do a little live stream. And when I say we, I mean I am film critic Rachel Weiner, and Conrado Falco's here.
Yeah, he is. Happy birthday, Rachel. How does it feel to
Yay!
get all these presents?
Yeah, I mean when we talk about animation, that would be the that's the biggest gift of all. But yeah, it was kind of a fun thing. It ended up happening on my birthday, so
hmm Yeah, and we're here to talk about the Oscar nominations. I feel like one of those people who go on like the morning talk shows to talk about this thing.
yeah, right.
You know?
Yes, and we have the chat room open if anybody wants to make a comment on as we're talking, and also you could do a super chat if you feel so inclined. And yeah, I mean, I guess before we dive in, just real quick, overall, what would you say? Would you say that this was a good year of cinema, a good year of film, or not?
I mean, depends on where you were looking. I don't know if I would ever think of that question and the Oscars necessarily
Yeah,
overlapping that
fair.
much. You know, like I
Yeah,
think it's like two different things. I will say it's not a I guess it's an okay list of nominees for the most part.
yeah.
I don't think anything too surprising happened with these nominations. I think it
Yeah.
was more or less what I was expecting. Um
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved a surprise like a Godzilla -1 or, something real like,
well,
real
Godzilla minus one
surprising.
did get an Oscar nomination.
Yeah. But nothing like, too wild, for which one did well we'll go over it. But there was one in particular for animation that made me very happy.
Mhm.
Uh but
Okay.
um but yeah, let's dive in. We'll talk about it. We've already got a couple. We've got Godzilla for Best Picture, sadly not, but
But it did get a nomination for visual effects, which is
yeah,
kind of huge because no
yeah.
Godzilla movie had ever gotten anything,
Oh,
not even
really?
the American ones. So that's, not insignificant.
I didn't know that. And it was made on such a small budget,
hmm
only $15 million. I mean, and I know that it's a little different. The Japanese, it's they're the way you can't like a direct comparison. They're not exactly the same, but still, it was small compared to some of these others.
hmm
And we have already some excitement for Nimona. This is very exciting. The animation category was pretty fun. So we'll talk about all of that. But I guess we'll go for the big prize. And I guess
Right.
should we also mention that today is my birthday. It's very
hmm
exciting. Not
It
only
is.
Sundance, but the Oscars on my birthday. So
Busy
if you
time of
feel
year.
yes, but let's talk about Best Picture. So we have
hmm
10 nominees this year. It's not always 10
Um,
nominees.
I think
Uh,
actually that's changed. Now it's supposed to be always 10 nominees from, I think, starting last year or a couple years ago, it
oh, was that
changed.
like official change? I didn't realize that.
Yep. So
Oh,
now
okay.
well, until they change it again, because you know how they are. But like right now, we are supposed to be getting 10 nominees no matter what.
Yes. So we have American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, and Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Any big surprises there
I
for
would
you?
say no surprise there. That's kind of what I expected were those 10. If there was going to be a surprise, I was thinking maybe Maestro would get left off the list because I had the feeling that a lot of it, people weren't really into it. There was a lot of
Yeah.
criticism of it. It was kind of losing steam, but I guess there was nothing else there that people loved enough to replace it, so it kind of just stuck around.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I would have loved to have seen an animated film get in there. The Boy and the Heron seems so beloved that or like a Spider Verse or something like that. But
Hmm.
this was pretty expected. Maybe a little surprised that the Zone of Interest got in there, but it had been building a lot of
Yeah, and it did
momentum.
really well in
So
general. Got a lot of nominations.
it
So,
did, yeah, it did.
um, yeah, it's been a long time since we had a animated film in Best Picture.
Yeah,
Well,
since
since Toy Story
I-
3, that's
yeah, since Toy Story
more than 10
3.
years ago. We've had a lot of international movies that are starting to get nominated very often, but
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think animation needs to come back in at some point.
yeah. And but overall, I actually haven't seen American Fiction. That's the only blind spot I have on this list,
Hmm.
and I need to see it. I just missed the screening, and I never have caught up with it.
All right, so let's do this. Let's say about what our favorite is of each nominee and what we think is going to win. Well, what we think is
Okay.
going to win seems like Oppenheimer, right? That seems like it's almost
Yeah.
a done deal at this point.
Yeah, I think so. Nah, I mean, yeah, I think I'm happy to see Anatomy of a Fall because that movie was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought that it looked really pretentious, and then I
Mm.
watched it. I was like, this actually isn't pretentious. It's like I thought it was very well edited, and I was I thought it was very entertaining. I was like, this is a like art house film that I could recommend to I don't know any pretty much anybody I think would enjoy it.
It's pretty, yeah, it's
Yeah.
very accessible for
Be
an
accessible.
art
Yeah.
house film.
Yeah.
What would you, but what's your favorite of the nominees? I think we all know what it is, but just let us
my,
know.
my favorite is The Holdovers. Is my favorite of the nominees. I also had on my top 15 best of the year. I did end up having Barbie on. I had it at 11 in my best of the year, so that would be my second favorite. Even though I think it has flaws, I really did enjoy it. So
I, um, so if you were a voter, you would vote for the holdovers, you think?
yes, and
Yeah.
I also had Killers of the Flower Moon on my top
Mm.
15.
Killers of the Flower Moon, I think, is for me the best of these nominees, the one that I would vote
Yeah.
for, and the one that was kind of like the most powerful experience for me watching it. So that's definitely my top. But I do really like Oppenheimer, so I will be. And I don't really like Christopher Nolan usually, but I really like this movie. I
Yeah,
think
it
it's
was a
really
good
great.
one.
So I will be happy, or at the very least, content when it wins.
Right. Yeah, Fallen Leaves.
Fallen Leaves, which I
Sad
also
story.
loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great movie, but
Yeah. I love it too. And Alexander Payne, not nominated. Yeah.
yeah.
But
Hmm.
yeah, I think that um I'm happy to see I thought Past Lives was good. I'm happy to see that in there. Um
Hmm. So Past Lives, actually, interesting fact, is the first nomination for Christine Vajon as a producer. She has been working since the 80s, and she's produced a lot of very important independent movies, including a lot of I think all of Todd Haynes' movies she's produced,
hmm,
but she's never been nominated for an Oscar. She's kind of like a legend in the independent producers world, and
yeah.
this is her first time getting nominated. So that's pretty significant, I would say.
Yeah, that's cool. I do think May December got pretty. It did get something, but it got pretty snubbed.
It got pretty snubbed. That's, I think, the big kind of critical hit that
Yeah,
didn't really go over with the Academy. They just don't get into Todd Haynes. Same thing
no,
happened with Carol, Far From Heaven.
right.
Well, those movies did better. They got more nominations, but
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep diving in. So we have actor in a leading role. We have Bradley Cooper in Maestro, Coleman Domingo in Rustin, Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer, Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction. Have you seen American Fiction?
I have.
What do you
And
think?
I love Jeffrey Wright in general as an
Mhm.
actor. About
Yeah,
time that he got an Oscar nomination, because he's been great for decades at this point.
hmm
And he is really good in American Fiction, a movie that I didn't love, but
hmm
he was really good in it.
Mm-hmm. I thought it looked. Just one of those ones that slipped through the cracks. But
That's all right.
yeah.
Mixer live in here for a little bit. Sure.
So we have. I don't understand Mark Ruffalo over Dominic Sessa. He was so goofy. Yeah, yeah. We agree. And then Saltburn. Yeah, that's a good point. Saltburn did get snubbed. I haven't seen Saltburn. That was another one that I missed this
Mm,
award season. But yeah, that's true. It didn't get anything, which may be a little surprising. Um, okay. So any other things in this actor that's surprising?
I don't think this was surprising at all. It's kind of what I expected. I guess Leonardo DiCaprio maybe, since Kills of the
Mhm.
Flower Moon did so well, but I think it's such a divisive performance. I've heard a lot of people who really did not like his performance in there, so I guess maybe that's, and it's a pretty unlikable character,
Mhm.
so maybe that's what pushed him aside. Also, he's won before. I feel like he's become kind of like a Tom Hanks thing of like people know that he's won. For so many years it was the when is Leo going to win, and then he did, and now they, oh, he already won, so I won't vote for him or something.
Yeah, I could have seen a Walking Phoenix sneaking in there, but yeah, for Beau Was Afraid or for Napoleon, I could have seen that. But I'm happy to see Coleman Domingo because the movie's fine, but he
Mhm.
was good in Rustin.
I haven't seen that one, but
It's not like
he's
great,
a great actor in general, so.
yeah. So yeah, I've loved Jeffrey Wright since Angels in America. Glad to see him get nominated. So that's awesome.
Mhm.
And then Trevor Walsey says, "Yeah, it seemed like Saltburn had some momentum." And
It did at
so
some
yeah,
point. It kind of, I think Rosamund Pike got a lot of nominations for supporting actress, but then obviously she didn't make the cut today.
yeah, yeah. All right, we have actor in a supporting role. We have Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction, Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling in Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things. So yeah, no Dominic Sessa, which I just really enjoyed him. So too bad, but
It's tough for young actors,
yeah,
to get in.
and it's his first movie that he was ever in, so he's got lots of chances coming up. Hopefully.
Wait, we didn't say who we think is going to win lead
Oh
actor.
yeah,
What do you?
sorry. I think that I think that Paul Giamatti's going to win.
I think so too.
Yeah,
The other big one's Killian Murphy, of course, because
right.
he's an Oppenheimer and he's really good. But I do think it's gonna become for Giamatti. I think there's like,
Mm,
the sentimental factor. He plays a likable character. He's been around for so long. Everybody likes him. It
yeah,
feels like it's his time.
yeah, I agree. So yeah, actor in a supporting role, uh, and he would obviously be my pick as well.
Hmm.
Of those. It is surprising. No Charles Melton
May
for May
December. Yeah,
December.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't get at one point. It seemed like he was going to maybe even be a possibility to win it. He was
Mm,
winning a lot of critics awards, but I guess he's out. And
yeah.
they really just May December just really didn't click with the voters.
Yeah. Absolutely. Holdovers high
Those
price.
have rise up. Oh, that's my friend Gamal. He loves the holdovers, just like you,
So
Rachel.
good. Yes. I loved it too. I thought it was a perfect film.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have
Okay,
who
so
do you
who wins supporting actor? Robert Downey Jr. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I would say I think that Robert Downey Jr. will win with like a small chance of Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, you think, is a dark horse?
Yeah, I do.
It's
Yeah.
possible. I mean, Downey Jr. feels like, such a, big deal that he's like
Mhm.
might win. So I don't know, but I think I guess Gosling would be my pick if there was a dark horse. So maybe there's a chance.
Out of these performances, who would you pick?
Who would I vote for?
Yeah, who would
What's
you?
my favorite performance out of these? I think it might be Robert De Niro. Actually, I really loved Killers of the Flower Moon, and I did love him in it. I think he's really great.
He was a little clownish for me, and just like a little too over the top for me in Killers of the Flower Moon. For but so out of these, I haven't seen American Fiction, so I can't out of but the rest, I would probably give it to Ryan Gosling actually out of those.
Mm,
I
yeah.
thought he did a lot with that role. So we have lots of Holdovers fans. Yes. In the comments. And then Downey Jr.'s career win. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he did a good job in the movie, but
He did. He's very good.
yeah. And I didn't buy that a man in his 80s would put that much energy into getting rich.
That's for Robert De Niro. I don't think
Yeah.
he's supposed to be 80 in the movie, but
Fair. That's a good point. All right. Actress in a leading role. We have Annette Bening in Naiad, Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan in Maestro, and Emma Stone in Poor Things.
I guess the big thing here is that Margot Robbie was not in for Barbie.
Yeah, it is kind of ironic that all these other nominations and
Barbie
Ken gets
herself is not
nominated over
nominated.
Barbie.
She did get nominated as a producer of Barbie, I believe, though, right?
Yeah.
So there's that.
It's kind of ironic given the themes of the movie that
Ken got nominated, but Barbie didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Naiad.
Oh, which you should, because you're a swimmer. You're an open water swimmer, just like Diana Naiad. So I thought it was okay. It was a fun time, and Annette Bening is good in it. I do love Annette Bening, so happy for her. I don't think she'll win, though, right? No. I think it's
I think
Lily
that
Gladstone,
between Emma and Lily.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Lily Gladstone at this point, but I could see Emma Stone. I could also see, because they really loved Anatomy of a Fall. If there was gonna be like a crazy surprise, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall would be one that I would think about.
Yeah, I would be happy. I thought she was really great in it, so that would be good. I mean, I would give it to Lily though, even though I haven't seen Naiad.
I think so too. She would be my vote as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would. I know people love Maestro and people loved the performances, but I'm not in that camp. I thought that it felt like actors acting, in my opinion. It didn't feel like a flesh and blood human being.
Yeah, I think I see what you're saying. Yeah, I feel similar about it.
Mm-hmm. All right, but Netflix had a great, pretty good day, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're Maestro, they have Naiad. What else? Rustin got Coleman Domingo in. So May December is the one that didn't from
Netflix, and Nimona got in.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so then actress in a supporting role, we have Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer, Daniel Brooks in The Color Purple, American Ferrera in Barbie, Jodie Foster in Naiad, and Davine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers. Is this the only nomination for The Color Purple?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I haven't seen it. I hear that Danielle Brooks is really great in it, though.
Yeah, she's really good. And I mean, I enjoyed the movie, but you know me and musicals.
Yeah, that's one that also didn't do very well. It kind of lost a lot of its. It never really had that much buzz to it, right? It never really quite turned into a contender, except for Danielle Brooks. And then America Ferrera, I was a little surprised to see for Barbie. I don't think she had been getting many nominations that I saw. So.
I was a little surprised with that as well. I thought that we might be seeing Sandra Hüller twice.
Oh yeah, for Zone of Interest and Supporting. Yeah, I thought that could have happened. Also, Julianne Moore for May December didn't make it in, who I thought could have.
Yeah, I could have seen that for sure. Yeah. Fantasia Robb,
lead actor, right?
For Fantasia. Yeah, I really liked her. I thought she was perfect for the role. And a lot of times the Academy likes to award singers that act. You know that. And so
Whip Smart says, I don't really understand America Ferrera nomination. I think she's been around for a long time and she's respected, and that monologue is very It's one of the
Yeah.
most memorable parts of the movie, so I think kind of that's where that comes in. Um,
Yep.
it is also a category supporting actress, sorry, where there was Divine Joy Randolph for Holdovers. She feels like she's way out front in number one, right?
Yeah.
She's been winning
No, there's
everything.
no
I feel like
question.
she's going to win.
If there
So
was anything that's a lock, it is this
I think
category.
so too. And because of that, I think it leaves a lot of room for surprises in the nominations. So, that's kind of like, because she's running so far ahead of the rest.
Yeah. And I think she deserves it. She was
Yeah,
great. Absolutely great in the
she is
movie.
great. All
Uh,
right.
yeah. God, let's see here. I think they didn't love that May December was critical of actors' biopic
Big
movie
movie
making.
making. That is a great
That is
point.
very fair.
I
Yeah.
think, it makes sense that actors wouldn't like it because of that.
It's interesting because I was thinking, oh, they're going to love this because it's about movie making. But you're
But it's
right
pretty
that it's kind of
critical of it.
critical of it. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Justice for Ugly Betty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
that's right.
Ugly Betty, she's been around for a long time, American Pie.
Yeah, it's a good show. I like that show. All right. Okay, so animated feature film, we have The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, woo, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I even tweeted out yesterday, I thought Robot Dreams did not have a chance. I hadn't seen it. I don't think it got any other of the precursor awards, nominations, and I thought, TMNT or I knew
Super
that
Mario.
Suzume. I knew that, or Super Mario. I knew that Suzume wasn't going to get it, but I thought that, or maybe the new Chicken.
Chicken Run 2.
Yeah, might get it because they love Aardman and the Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thrilled about Robot Dreams. This movie is so cute. It's so well done. I absolutely adore it. So I was very happy about that, and I'm happy for Nimona, even though I didn't love it. I think it's a.
Do people love Nimona? This is one that I've only heard bad things about.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
it's just the people that I hang around, but the only people I know who've seen it, they are like, "This is terrible. I hate
It
it."
has a definite hive. Like my friend Animat, it's his favorite of the year. A bunch of in the animation community that really love it, but it's also, I mean, it's just kind of a nice underdog story that it even got finished, that it got made at all.
Oh, I see. There's a
So
history
there's
to
sort of
it.
that going along with it, because it was originally made by Blue Sky, and then when Disney closed down Blue Sky, it was like, I think it was like 2/3 done. And so people thought it was never going to get made. It also has like some really refreshing LGBTQ representation for an animated film. Okay. It has a gay relationship. There's a gay kiss in it. Things like that you don't typically see in an animated film.
Right.
Its style is really beautiful. It was just a little boring for me. I didn't love the story, but it's not like a terrible movie. I enjoyed it.
Well, with that backstory, it makes sense that the animators in the Oscar branch would want to reward it and give it a nomination, right?
Yeah. And I like when they give movies like Robot Dreams a boost. Yeah.
And I haven't seen Robot Dreams yet, but I really want to. It looks very, very cute and fun.
And Teenage Turtles Robbed. I did not think that they would nominate both TMNT and Spider-Verse. But
it is hard to get that kind of movie nominated. Like, remember the Lego movie didn't get nominated, and Spider-Man really is kind of the outlier there. When there's like a movie about, a comic book or like something that's based on like stuff that's been around for a while, the animation branch tends to ignore it at some point.
Yeah. I mean, I would have loved to have seen Suzume in there because I did really enjoy it, but I knew that it had almost no chance because the Academy just almost never rewards non-Ghibli animated anime films. There's only been one in the Mirai is the only one in the history of that this award has been that was nominated. That's not Ghibli. So, and they don't like Makoto Shinkai for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, it didn't get nominated. So but I'm still happy for Robot Dreams. It's excellent. I think that The Boy and the Heron is going to win.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
It's got all the momentum and it's people,
I think
really.
if Spider-Man had done a little better, because it's its only nomination, is this. If it had
Yeah.
done it like, score or
VFX.
sound or visual effects or
Yeah.
something, I would have felt different. But Boy and the Heron, I think it's gonna end up taking it now.
Yep. And I'm happy for Miyazaki.
Yeah, of
Y-
course.
Yeah, legend, of course. Um, and we got some love for the peasants. Not of us. Um, and in the chat. Okay, so then cinematography: El Conde, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. I'm
No,
s- oh,
go ahead.
I'm a little surprised Napoleon didn't get in here
Oh, you think
for
so?
cinematography.
I
I
thought the
mean,
Zone of Interest might have gotten in, but I'm not too
oh, I
surprised
could
about
see that.
the list. I think Oppenheimer will win this pretty easily, though. Part of the Oppenheimer sweep.
Agreed. I mean, I've never seen El Conde. That's the one I
Hmm.
haven't seen. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, that's on
And
Netflix, I think, too. Um,
but I'm thinking Maestro. I just don't remember the great
well,
cinematography.
Maestro had like the whole black and white thing, and they love black and white. Look, El
Yeah,
Conde, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things all have at least some parts of them in black and white. And even Killers of the Flower Moon has some
yeah,
little bit of black and white in it. So
fair,
every single one.
true. I didn't know that that was so key. El Conde is black and white.
Yeah.
There you go. Vampire movie. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I haven't seen that one. But out of these, yeah, I mean Oppenheimer. I would probably, if it was just my own. It's a pretty good list. A pretty good group. I would probably give it to Killers of the Flower Moon though.
Yeah.
Out of those,
I think so. Either that or Oppenheimer for me. I think they're
yeah.
both are pretty great.
Costume design:
Mhm.
Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things.
No surprises there, in my opinion.
No, no surprises. Pretty good group though. I mean, I would have loved to have seen something a little modern. I would have loved to have seen the holdovers or something like that. That
Yeah,
people think
even
that
modern
just
at this point.
yeah. Well, people think that just because you're that it's not hard, that it's not work, but that it is work. But
Yeah.
it's a strong group, I would say. I think that Barbie will win this one.
Oh, okay. We disagree for the first time. I think Poor Things is gonna win costumes.
I could see that.
I think they're so extravagant that I don't see how they will resist those.
I don't know
Barbie would
though.
be my second choice, though. I
Yeah.
think it's good between those two for sure.
I just feel like also Jacqueline Duran is like an institution.
She is, and she won for Little Women and I think for Anna Karenina as well.
Yeah, and they tend to have it's crazy the small like collection of people that have been nominated for costume design. Like it's like such a club.
Mm,
Colleen Atwood, people like that.
yeah,
But yeah, it definitely could be Poor Things. They're excellent in the
mm,
costumes were great in that. So uh,
yeah.
yeah. Let's see here. I thought the infrared scenes in Zone would have gotten
Oh,
in.
for the cinematography, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. All right. Directing, we have Anatomy of a Fall, Justine Triet, Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese, Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, Poor Things, Yorgos Lanthimos, and The Zone of Interest, Jonathan Glazer. I was a little surprised the Zone of Interest got in there, but
Mm, yeah.
yeah, pretty expected group.
This was kind of what I was expecting, I have to say. I had Alexander Payne instead of Yorgos Lanthimos getting in, but other than that, this was kind of what I expected. Some people surprised that Greta Gerwig didn't get in, which I guess
Yeah,
it's a little bit surprising, but the Oscars didn't really love Barbie as much as they could have. It did get a lot of
yeah,
nominations, but Margot Robbie didn't get in. No, Greta Gerwig doesn't get in.
yeah,
Um, I think I sense a little bit of that kind of like snobbery about it. It's the kind of like it's a movie about a doll thing. I think keeps it from the director brand, especially because it's particularly artsy. And they like international
yeah.
directors and they like big names and that kind of thing. Reminds me of like, well, The Dark Knight didn't get nominated. Christopher Nolan back then didn't get nominated for director.
Mhm.
He didn't get nominated for Inception either. And then Black Panther, which I think it's a more recent comparison to Barbie in terms of like the
Mm,
popular element of it, that also
right.
didn't get
Yeah.
director. So I'm
Or
not
like
so
Top
shocked.
Gun Maverick
Top Gun
too.
Maverick didn't
Yeah.
get it.
Avatar.
Avatar didn't. The
That's
second one, the first
true.
one did.
Right. Don't like Tree It because of the disturbing dog scene.
It
That's
is a
fair.
very disturbing dog
That's
scene.
fair. But it was. I thought it was a very well directed film, and so I'm pretty much. I mean, I didn't love the Zone of Interest, but I get it. I guess it was an interesting experiment. I would. I mean, of these, I would personally give it to Martin Scorsese.
I would as well, but
Yeah,
I
out of
think
these.
Christopher Nolan's gonna win it, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he deserves it. He's got to. Even though I hated Tenet so much, I'm happy for him. Okay, documentary feature film. Bobby Wine, the People's President, the Eternal Memory, Four Daughters, To Kill a Tiger, and 20 Days in Mariupol. I haven't seen any of these.
I haven't
Uh,
seen any of this either.
yeah,
I don't
so
have a lot to say except that, as usual with the documentary branch, the movies that I had heard about that were like the big
yeah,
Oscar contenders, didn't get nominated.
yeah, the
The
documentary branch
Michael J.
is the
Fox
worst.
movie didn't get in.
And I, even though they're the worst, I was a little surprised by that because I just think he's so beloved
Yeah.
that, and it was so well done.
And the other one is this movie American Symphony, which I heard a
Yeah,
lot about as
I
well,
was.
and both of them were left out.
Yeah,
I think the winner is going to be this 20 Days in Mariupol, though. I've
yeah,
seen that popping up, and it's about the war in Ukraine and all that stuff, so I think that's going to take it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. Okay. Oh, and then Beyond Utopia. That was another one
Oh,
I heard
Beyond
about.
Utopia is
Yeah,
another one.
yeah. All right. So film editing, we have Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things. I think those are all solid,
Yeah, not too
well edited.
surprising. Yeah, not a lot of surprises there. I mean,
I think it would have been nice to have seen Spider Verse in this if there was going to be a surprise. I thought that was very well edited. The
that
way,
would have been huge because no animated movie has ever gotten an
yeah,
editing nomination, and there's obviously a lot of misunderstanding and about how editing works for an animated movie,
mhm,
right? But
mhm,
I think that's kind of what the hurdle has been.
yeah,
But it's gonna happen someday, I assume.
maybe, yeah, maybe. But these are all good. I think that I mean, Oppenheimer was extremely well edited. The way like the editing was a key part in telling the story. The way it flipped between the two different narratives was extremely effective. So I mean that's who I would give it to.
I think that's winning for sure. My pick for my personal favorite is Killers of the Flower Moon, Thelma Schoonmaker, just because, well, for a lot of reasons, I think it's a great movie, but also it's such a long movie that works, that to me moves so well and
Yeah.
doesn't feel as long as it is. And also, actually, a fun fact: this nomination makes Thelma Schoonmaker the most nominated editor for the Oscars
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
So, congratulations to Thelma.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably the dark horse of the second choice, and she did a great job. I'm surprised there's no Wish, Suzume, TMNT, or the Super Mario Brothers for animated feature, though I didn't think Suzume would be nominated in the first place. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they don't like the anime over there. So,
Hmm.
yeah. So international feature film, we have Io Capitano, Perfect Days, Society of the Snow, The Teacher's Lounge, and The Zone of Interest. I really wish for this category that I just wish that I wish that wasn't this rule of each country submitting one film, because then you have like Japan had such an amazing year of cinema with Monster, with The Boy and the Heron, with
Godzilla
Perfect
minus
Days,
one.
with Godzilla minus one, that they could have taken the whole category. I guess
Yeah,
that's what they're trying to avoid. But
I think
I
so.
just feel like the best movie should win. It should be nominated. You know,
Hmm.
it's kind of stupid, but
It's a tough one. I haven't seen any of these except for Zone of Interest. So for me, this is more about what didn't get nominated this category, including Fallen Leaves, which we both loved.
yeah.
Um, The Taste of Things didn't get nominated either. That was
Mhm.
France's submission,
Yeah.
and that's a little bit surprising.
Well, a lot of people were mad that they nominated that
Anatomy of a
over
Fall.
Anatomy of a Fall.
And maybe they made a mistake because
Yeah, it
Anatomy of
sounds
a Fall got
like
nominated
they
all
did.
over the place.
Yeah, I think they did as far as winning. They made a
Mhm.
mistake. But I have seen Perfect Days, and it's a lovely little film. So I'm glad that it
Yeah,
got nominated. But I just think this whole system is kind of dumb. But I think the Zone of Interest is going to win this, no question.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and it was to me, it was an interesting experiment, but not
Yeah.
entirely
I
successful.
really didn't like the Zone of Interest. I have to say, I'm gonna come out right now to say that I really hated that movie. I don't see what the point of it is or what it.
Yeah,
I think it's an experiment that has. I think that fails completely. I feel like
yeah.
but I know that there's a lot of people who love it, so whatever. But I
I
personally,
didn't hate it. I'd give it a mild recommendation, but I
mm,
thought it would have worked better as a short than as a
mm.
feature for me. But I get it. And then we have Fallen Leaves and Godland, which we reviewed on Criterion.
That's right. There's a Criterion
Yeah, yeah.
Project episode on Godland, which is one of our most popular episodes.
Sometimes
If you're
Conrado
saying
is
that I'm
wrong.
wrong,
It's
he's
the
saying that
same
I'm wrong about
zone of
something else.
interest.
Definitely not the Zone of Interest, which I'm completely right about.
Okay, makeup and hairstyle. We've got Golda, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society
Lady of the
of the
Snow.
Snow. And I guess that Barbie was not on the short list for this, which is, to me is crazy. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean these were all pretty good.
I haven't seen
Fair.
Golda or Society of the Snow, but Society of the Snow is about the plane, the football team that crashes
Mhm.
in the mountains, right? So that's gonna have some pretty gruesome makeup to
Yeah,
it.
I haven't seen that one, but the rest I've seen. I think that out of this, I think maybe Poor Things.
Is
I
your
don't know. What
favorite
do
or
you
who
think?
wins?
I think maybe that might win or
I
Oppenheimer.
think the winner is Maestro. I think it's
Oh,
good.
you think Maestro
I
because of
think
the
the makeup.
nose?
I actually think I didn't love Maestro as a movie. I didn't really like it very much, but the makeup, the aging makeup on Bradley Cooper, I think is pretty incredible. It's
Because
the
of the
best that I've
nose.
ever seen. It just felt so. It felt like actual skin, which it almost never does.
Mm,
And it's by this guy Kazuhiro, who has won before for doing Darkest Hour and some other stuff, and he's kind of like the
mm,
big genius of makeup at this point.
I
So I
can
think
see
that's kind of pretty much in the bag for Maestro.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I would probably, out of these, I would probably give it to Poor Things, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I can see what you're saying with Maestro. Uh, so music, we have American Fiction, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. This is a
All right.
pretty,
Pretty,
it's a pretty lame
pretty
group.
lame. I was gonna say this
I
is the worst category I think of today. Like,
yeah,
what is happening? Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny?
come
Are you
on,
kidding me? I know John Williams,
ridiculous.
I know, but come on.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, why not? If there was going to be one spot to put Zone of Interest, I could have put them in here. I thought that was the score was
Forget about
very
Zone of Interest.
impactful.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, a
Yeah,
movie I don't like, but has an incredible score. I
yeah,
think it's
agreed.
like it definitely deserves to be there. And Boy and the Heron, another
Yeah,
movie that I
Joe
thought was
Sasaki has
okay.
never been nominated,
One of the
which is
best
insane.
composers alive in the whole world, and
He's
there we
never
go.
been nominated.
Avi's got it right. No Boy and the Heron, no Spider-Verse, no Zone of Interest. Um, Zone of Interest, I don't feel the same way as you do, both
Mhm.
of you. It's like one track. It's like the whole movie is almost like, and it's just a drone. And I don't get this Zone of Interest score, but Boy and the Heron, an absolute masterpiece of a score that should have
Yeah,
been nominated. It would have been a great way
ridiculous.
to reward such an incredible composer
Yeah,
who you've
agreed.
never rewarded before, instead of an incredible composer that you reward every single time, John Williams.
Yeah,
We can move on from there.
unbelievable. And one sick track. I would give this if it was just me out of these, I would give it to Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, I think I would give it to Oppenheimer, which I think is also going to win. I really love
Agreed.
that
It
score.
was good. It was
Yeah.
good. Yeah. It was nice to have a Nolan film that wasn't constant, you know. So many of his Hans Zimmer ones have been. So yeah, I'm fine with that. It was good. Okay. So music, original song. We have "The Fire Inside" from Flamin' Hot. I'm just,
Diane Warren
yeah,
is the
you
John
gotta have her
Williams of
in there.
original song. She's always there, always the bridesmaid, but she's always there.
Yeah, I'm just Ken from Barbie. It never went away from American Symphony, and "Song for My People" for Killers of Flower Moon, and "What Was I Made For" from Barbie. Um, I I think that I'm just Ken is gonna win,
I think so
right?
too.
Yeah,
There's a lot of talk about the Billie Eilish song, "What Was I Made For," but I think "I'm Just Ken" is just the more fun, more exciting song. They're gonna make a big deal out of the musical number at the Oscar ceremony, I think. But
yeah,
um, so that's my guess.
yeah. I think so. It would be my favorite of these songs.
Mine too.
I don't know this
Well,
American
actually, I
Symphony song,
haven't heard
but
most of the songs. On I
I,
guess I know the Barbie songs on the Killers of the Flower Moon song. I must know because I've seen the movie, although I don't know which song it is.
yeah. Trevor says I liked American Fiction, but the score is not memorable. Yeah.
The score, it's kind of jazzy, right? I don't think I remember the score very much either.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're almost done. So production design, we have Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, Poor Things.
No
All pretty
surprises
good.
there.
Yeah, all pretty good, I would say. I think the Barbie's gonna win.
Yeah. Now this one I'm not so sure about. I think again I'm feeling Barbie or
Or
Poor
Oppenheimer.
Things, and it could go either way for me. But it could be Oppenheimer. It could be Killers of the Flower Moon. The only one that I don't see winning at all is Napoleon. But all
Agreed.
the other four, I could see. I guess Barbie is the most. It's the whole thing about the Barbie world, and that was such a big part of the whole, you know, thing about the movie that I guess that's the one. But I could also see Poor Things. That just feels like the kind of thing they go for.
Yeah, Oppenheimer could take it for building a whole town. That's
They did
fair.
build a whole town,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I just feel like the production design tends to like they love Tim Burton. Every time a Tim Burton movie is nominated in production design,
Mhm.
it wins, and it Poor Things feels like Tim Burton, so that's why I feel like it might win.
Yeah, I could see that. I can't believe Peaches from Super Mario Brothers wasn't nominated. That wasn't even on the short list, so it wasn't gonna get nominated. But yeah,
Would
I
have
know a
been
lot of
fun for
people
Jack Black to
enjoyed.
have an Oscar nomination.
A lot of people enjoyed that one. So let's see here. So yeah, I mean, we won't go over all the shorts, but I was a little bit surprised that Once Upon a Studio didn't get in for animated short. Just
I was and I wasn't. I was because it was the one that people were talking about, but when
mhm,
I thought about it, I did have a feeling of like it is as basically a commercial, a celebration for Disney that it's,
mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
that the animators would want to vote for something else is what I thought,
Mhm.
that they might highlight something different.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it did a good job for what it was, but yeah. So then, and I haven't seen any of the others, so what do I
Yeah,
know?
but I'm seeing here 1905 Cents is one of the nominees, directed by Jerusha Hess and Jared Hess, the directors of A Napoleon Dynamite, which is a favorite of
Ah,
yours.
yeah, that's cool. Good for them. And okay, so then short film. The big thing it was exciting is Wes Anderson finally gets
Wes
his
Anderson
Oscar
gets a
nom
nomination. Well, he's been nominated in the
for
past, but I
screenplay. So
think this time he might win. I think
I
this
think
might be the
he'll win.
time that Wes Anderson finally gets an Oscar.
And
And this
I
time,
haven't watched that yet, but I heard it's
oh,
pretty
I
good.
think you would really like it. It's really
Yeah.
great. I loved it. It's a short, but it's one of my favorite movies of the whole year. And
Mhm.
I'm, you know that I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan, so I'm excited for the possibility
Yeah.
that he might actually win.
Which for having so many stars, it is a little surprising to me that Asteroid City got snubbed completely.
Right, especially in like production design or costume design. I think that
Yeah.
should have been a slam dunk. But weirdly
Mhm.
enough, unlike Tim Burton, Wes Anderson has only gotten it for Grand Budapest, which like won all of those awards. But none of his other movies have ever gotten a production design nomination, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. That's nuts. Okay. So then for sound, we have The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest. And I feel like The Zone of Interest is going to win this one.
Yeah. Well, I want to say I'm a little bit surprised to see The Creator, which I think had great sound in it, but I didn't expect it to get nominated
Mm-hmm.
here. And
Yeah.
also, Mission Impossible, the only Mission Impossible movie to have gotten any Oscar nominations is this one.
Oh,
And it is one that has famously been kind of a box office disappointment. You know, the big
right.
ones
Yeah.
like Fallout and Ghost Protocol and all of that, none of them got nominated. And all of a
Even
sudden,
though it was nominated for box office achievement at the
at the
Golden
Golden Globe.
Globes,
Yeah.
which was funny because it's completely failed.
um,
um,
I
but
just think it's kind of crazy
yeah,
that
I was surprised, a little
this is
surprised
the
with The
one that makes it through.
Creator. Yeah, I was a little surprised. But I don't know. I just feel like for people that love Zone of Interest,
This
the
is a
sound
place
is
to give it
everything in
to.
that movie. The sound is a complete character in the film.
That's a good
And
point.
yeah, I
That's
mean,
a
it
great
is
point.
everything.
I do feel like Oppenheimer. This is going to be part of the Oppenheimer sweep, in my opinion. But I could see Zone of Interest. It's definitely the biggest spoiler is Zone of Interest
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me.
Okay, so then we have visual effects, The Creator, coming in again, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Napoleon. I think all pretty strong. And yay
Yeah,
for Godzilla
yeah, good
-1.
for Godzilla.
Yay.
Very, yeah, significant nomination for
Yeah, I
Godzilla
was
here.
very happy for it.
Would probably be my pick for the win. Actually, if
They
I
were
was
all pretty
how
good.
well as
The
my favorite, you know.
Yeah, no question. It's my favorite of the group, but the creator, the visual effects were seamless as far as
Yeah, they were really great.
they
That
were
would also
really
be
good.
up there for me. And I
Yeah,
think, but I don't know who's gonna win. I really feel like it's like anything could take it
yeah, it
in
is a
one way or
pretty
another.
open category. If I think that which if I was a betting person, who would I bet
Yeah,
would
this is
win?
the hardest one. I think this is the category that wins you your Oscar pool if you get this one right.
Yeah. I think that maybe Napoleon might win this one.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I'm gonna go a little crazy. I'm gonna say Godzilla. You know, just go all the way. It already
Yeah.
made it to the nominations. Why not?
I would be so happy if it won. Oh my gosh, I would scream. So the creator has a lot of buzz because of its approach VFX budget. Yeah, it was only $85 million
Oh yeah,
movie, and they did a lot with a little. So I liked that movie more than most. I thought
those
it
effects were great.
wasn't perfect, but I overall liked it. Okay. Writing adapted screenplay. We have American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. So I think that I don't know. Who do you
Fiction,
think? Of course, the big
well,
story was that they included Barbie for adapted instead
adapted,
of
which is
original, which is ridiculous.
questionable in my opinion that it is an
Yes.
adapted screenplay. I don't think it really should be considered that, but whatever. It's here.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit surprising that Killers of the Flower Moon didn't make it in the screenplay. That it was the one that was bumped out. Although I hear that there's some. This might not be true, but I've heard some rumors that the screenplay might have been rewritten by people who were not credited, and so the writer Eric Roth has not been around promoting it, and so it's kind of like maybe like a little bit of a question there that might have pushed it out of the category.
I was a little surprised about The Zone of Interest just because usually in this category they go with more like dialogue
Yeah, wordy.
heavy kind of movies.
Yeah,
And so
but it is a big
a little
deal of. It's a very specific adaptation of the book it was based on, so I think that's kind of like it's admired of like how much it was changed and how it was turned into something similar but different in that way. It's my understanding
So
of
you
it.
think Oppenheimer will win this one?
I actually think Barbie is going to take this one.
Really?
I do think so. I think that Yeah, it's gonna be like that consolation prize of like,
A lot of
you
times
know,
they do that in this category.
yeah,
Yeah.
because Oppenheimer's gonna win so much. Christopher Nolan's gonna get director. So I think that it's gonna be the point. They're gonna get to this point in the ballot, and they're gonna be like, "Why not Barbie?"
Yeah. Ex Machina win points at the category liking the scrappier movie for VFX.
For VFX. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but what is the scrappier movie this year? I think it's Godzilla is the most scrappy.
Yeah. No question. Um, okay. Then last one is writing original screenplay. I mean, and as far as my favorite for adapted of those, I would say I haven't seen American Fiction, but I would say
Mm.
Oppenheimer probably my
Do you
as
think
far
that's gonna
as
win too?
yeah, I think
It could
Oppenheimer.
very easily, part of
Yeah.
the sweep.
hmm and so then writing original screenplay, we have Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives.
This is the one nomination for May December.
Yeah, I thought it was a terrible script. Sorry.
And it feels like it got it in because Barbie was moved to adapt it, that it was it managed
Yeah.
to get the nomination. So
And then I didn't love the script in Maestro, so this whole category is kind of miss. But I did like the script for Past Lives. I thought that was excellent. Anatomy of Fall, I thought was really well done, and of course, I love The Holdovers. So those ones
so you would vote for Holdovers as your favorite?
yeah, I would. Yeah, I thought it
Who do
was
you
such
think
a
is
good
gonna
script.
win though?
It's either going to be Anatomy of a Fall or The Holdovers.
I think
Um,
Anatomy of a Fall too. I think the fact that it wasn't in international feature and it's so
uh,
beloved, and they're gonna want to give it something, and I think this is the place.
yeah.
In 2000, I think it was 2002 or something, Almodovar had a similar situation where Spain
Mm,
didn't pick his movie Talk to Her, and he ended up winning original screenplay. So I
mm,
think something like that's gonna happen again this year for Justine Trier.
I could see that. I could see that. Yeah. Well, there we go. That's the Oscar nominations. I feel like it's a pretty decent batch. I'm not like outraged by too much.
I'm not average. That's kind of where the bar is these days. Yeah, I've had a couple of really tough years with the Oscars lately, but this one, I don't know. Maybe it's because I like Killers of the Flower Moon and Oppenheimer so much, and they're kind of dominating that I
Mhm.
feel like I feel fine about it, feel good about it. So
Yeah, and I really did enjoy Barbie, and so I'm happy for it. And the holdovers I loved. So yeah,
Mhm. So
not too.
what is the thing that you wish happens the most on Oscar night? The win that you'll be most excited for?
That has like a fighting chance, like a
I
real.
guess so. Yeah. Maybe.
Um, I that's a good question. I mean, Paul Giamatti. I think the
Yeah.
holdover that would
That would
be
be great. Mine
because
is
I'm obviously I'd
probably
love like Robot Dreams to win, but it doesn't have
right. It's highly
But
unlikely, but
but yeah, I think that will be the one that will make me the most happy if they announce if they're like Bradley Cooper. I'll be like, so
Pokemon would be great. Mine is, I think, Wes Anderson. I'm feeling good about it
yeah,
now.
yeah,
I was thinking he might never win an Oscar, but
yeah,
I feel like this is the chance. Now, of course, watch me be heartbroken a month from now, but
yeah.
crossing my fingers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks for everybody who was in the chat room. It was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
great comments. Thank
And
you,
you should
everybody.
check out the Criterion Project wherever you listen to podcasts. We have a ton of fun over there talking our pretentious movies and having fun. So
Yeah.
take a look at that. And if people want to follow you on socials, how do they do that?
You can go. I guess Letterbox would be the place to follow me, and you just search for my name, Conrado
Yeah.
Falco the third.
You can leave angry comments about a Zone of Interest
In the
review.
Zone of Interest review, which is one of my most popular reviews. All the Zone of
Sure.
Interest haters are liking it.
Yeah. And of course, you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes, and the Hallmarkies podcast. If you get a little tired of all this Oscar talk, go check out Hallmarkies podcast over
That'll
there.
be refreshing.
Yes. And if you want to, I think a very, very interesting discussion of Barbenheimer, we did, me and my friend Molly, we back in the summer, we did I thought a really good discussion of the two movies. And so I'll put a link down to that and you can check it out. And yeah, so there we go. I think we covered everything. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And happy Oscars to all the nominees. Congrats.
Yeah, and happy birthday, Rachel.
Hey, thanks.